So there's been a few people asking about our camping setup. We're on the road for 3 months, and there's been a few people asking how our setup is. So nothing fancy, standard Triton here, MR Triton I think it is. We got the aluminium canopy put on the back. This is an everyday use car, so we didn't go with like a standard, you know, everyone gets the camp set up with the drawers and everything else, but when we get home this car needs to be used as a everyday car for carting bales of hay and the dog and bikes and surfboards and whatever else, so we couldn't go getting fancy. So our basic setup was to be as basic as possible so it can all just come straight back out at the end. One of the best things, yeah, this, we're calling this the Zinger box. I've got this from All Powers, the Zinger box here. We've got this plugged in at the moment, but it charges up everything: phones, GoPros, drones, portable fans. We're charging up everything off of this. It can plug into 240, which we have now because we're in a caravan park, so it's plugged into 240, and it's yeah, that's running at 100% now. But it also comes with its own solar panel, which is tucked up the back of the car there. And this thing's been invaluable for charging everything up. It gets used full time, as you can see now. There's plugs in it now for phones. Yeah, it's also got like a hotspot on top, so you can just put your phone straight on top like that and it charges on top. Drones, the whole lot. It's been absolutely invaluable. The other thing I set up here as well, because we wanted the fridge in the back. Again, the fridge is not ideal. It would have been better on a slide and everything, but once more I was drilling holes in the bottom of the car, which I didn't really want to have to do. I didn't want anything permanent because this car's got to be used when we get it home. So the fridge is easy to open from this door here. I'll have no problem. I can just open it up and get in through the side door of the car here quite easily. So while it would be handy on a slide, just having it in the back of the car, it's not so bad here. I can easy enough reach into it and get what we need out of it, and it saved me having to mount stuff on the car. Oh, and water. I've got a 20-litre water container here, and we bought another 10-litre one. We're in Coral Bay. Some places, Coral Bay, Shark Bay, the water's not so good, and we have free camped at a few spots, so we fill this up. If we know we're free camping for a day or a couple of days, we've been filling up the water container and bringing water with us as well. But if possible, I'm leaving this empty, and then it can sit up the front there out of the way. I've actually got a void behind the fridge on that end there because the vents and the fans for the fridge are on that end there, so I've got the football in there to stop stuff falling down there, and there's a bit of a void there so the hot air that the fans are blowing out of the fridge can escape without blowing on anything or clogging it up and getting it too hot. So I'll put that up there when not in use. When it is in use, that sits in the back corner here, where it's easy to access. And that 10 litres there we haven't opened yet, and I don't know, I can't foresee us opening it in the near future because water is something they're not short of in Kununurra, Darwin, or any of the top end up here, because they've had nothing but rain for the last few months. It's been like hardcore. The sky's only just starting to clear now, but it was absolutely tipping down here at lunchtime. Anyway, if we need water, we've got that here as well, and the little gas stoves down here for when we're free camping in places that don't have a camp kitchen. We got the gas stove, but most of the way, just for convenience, shower. I like a shower. I'm getting too old for going days on ends without a shower. Maybe a shave and a haircut, but it's nice to have a proper toilet and a proper shower. So most of the way we have been staying in caravan parks where possible. I think this place was like $30 a night, so a big deal to get a fresh, nice shower and have a nice toilet to use. It's worth $30 a night. And here, I mean, like I said, couldn't be any more perfect. Been out of park, the dinghy right down there where I can just take it out whenever I want. Unfortunately, the lake doesn't hold many barramundi, but plenty of catfish have we discovered, but you'll see that in another video, no doubt. It's got a single solar panel on the roof. You can probably see up there. I actually had those solar panels at home already, so I just mounted them up. They're not really slimline or as travel friendly as they possibly could be, but the King's rooftop tent, which is here, actually came, you can buy these racks, and it came on and it all mounted on there pretty easily. So that was a simple task. Zane's sleeping bags in here at the moment because it's been raining heaps today and everything's wet. You can see Zane's got a camp stretcher there and his swag down here. Got quite soaked today because we'll go into that a bit later. But solar panel, so all I'm running here is just a King's solar charger here up on the roof. Once more, it's up, it's out of the way. All I can do is just unplug the Andersons, bang 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 there, and it's out. Obviously the units up here in the top is not really going to be a problem for anyone. So that's running down there to a standard King's battery box. I didn't go fancy. I know you can get lithium batteries and all fancy batteries. I already had a lead acid deep cycle 100 amp battery sitting in my garage that my dad took out of his Caravan, so I just used that. So I'm just running simple lead acid in there. It's been perfect. I can't see it now because it's not on, but generally the battery is running around 100 to 90%, and even overnight, we run this fridge overnight off the battery alone and it's still at 70% the next morning. So that one battery is more than enough to run this one fridge. I don't know how much more I'd want to run off of it. I know people run inverters and they want to bring hair dryers and microwaves and coffee machines and stuff. We got none of that. We're keeping it simple. We got a gas stove. If you want to make your coffee, we just boil water the old-fashioned way on the little gas stove that we've got just stashed underneath here. Apart from that, that is as simple as it's got. Once more, this is a bit of a mess in here at the moment because it started raining, so we just sort of threw everything in the back. But basically everything goes into these boxes here. We've got a heap of these boxes stacked underneath the table here. Everything's in boxes, so everything just stacks in box and they stack all up and down there. I understand the whole idea of having slide out drawers and everything. It's a whole lot easier because guarantee whatever box you're looking for is the one at the bottom and we have to pull the whole lot out to get to it. But it's just one of those things we've had to adapt and get used to. So now the table goes in last, so as soon as we pull in camp we can pull the table out and then all the boxes can come out on top of the table and we can get to whatever we need to get to reasonably easy. The only two that are left in there is the box with the tackle and the one with the tools, which is right at the front at the bottom, because tools are the thing that we're kind of using the least. So far we haven't had any breakages or any real reason to use tools that much. Well, there's been a few little mishaps, but I'll run through those for you in a minute. The rooftop tent was a bit of an ordeal in itself. It was a bit of an ordeal. This canopy actually came with these rails, as you can see here. I don't know if you can see there. Where's my little lucky light again? What do I do with it? Okay, so the rooftop tent came with these rails. I don't even know how visible that's going to be. Probably not. And me trying to keep everything low and streamlined, decided I was going to mount the bars underneath the rack rather than on top of the rack. Great idea, Scott, until it came time to actually get your fingers in there and do up the nuts and bolts. Not so easy because I had made everything streamlined and low. Absolutely no room to get my hands in there to get it done. It was quite awkward, but I managed it, got it done, and the rooftop tent mounted on there quite good, and it's actually quite low profile on the car itself. Obviously then we had to stack it up with the solar panels or whatever, but it's not causing a huge amount of drag. So far we've been averaging around about 13 litres to the 100 on the Triton. It's been as low as 12.5 and it's been as high as 14.5. Heading out to Tom Price, we were pushing a headwind the whole way out there, and it was also 46 degrees and we were running at about 14.5 litres to the 100. But in general it averages around 13 litres to the 100. Bear in mind we are towing a dinghy as well. The tinny trailer's here. The tinny's actually parked down on the side of the bay down there. Wow, the back of the car is an absolute mess because we had everything set up here and it started tipping down. And if anyone's seen wet season rain in the Kimberley, it came down and it came down real hard, so we just threw everything in the back at 100 miles an hour. Anyway, I'll show you something else. I'll just show you how easy it is to set up this King's tent while I'm here. It's really simple. This is the King's Slimline Adventure. A lot of them are a lot wider, that come out sort of like hanging out that sort of far. This is a kind of a slimmer one that's better suited to fitting on these style of ute. It's a little narrow, I'm not going to lie. The two of us side by side, it's cozy, but it's okay. But it's easiest part to set up, literally. You just push that up up she goes, and that's basically set up. And then there's 2 poles that go from there that kind of hold the fly out like that. Sorted, easy as that. And then the ladder is as simple as this. Clips on, telescopic ladder, and you're up there. One thing I will have to add is, I'll show you this since we're here. The first few nights the wife was a little bit uncomfortable because the mattress is only sort of 50 mil of memory foam, so somewhere along the line we stopped. I'm pretty sure it was Caravan, and we bought a yoga mat to go underneath, and then that made it better but not quite good enough, and then we ended up with 2 yoga mats. So we got 2 yoga mats thickness underneath the 50 mil closed foam, and now it's actually quite comfortable and quite cozy. And as you can see, this was packed up with blankets and sheets and everything in here. Pillows, I have closed it with the pillows in here, but it's a real tight squeeze, and it leaves the seals a little bit open along the sides here. It kind of flexes the lid and leaves the seals open, so it's going to suck in dust. So we take the pillows out and stash them in the car, but it does close with the pillows in, but I prefer to not have them in there. Blankets, no worries. I actually ran a cable, it's a bit of 200-pound wire trace across the top here, and our fan just sort of slots in the top there, and the fan plugs in. You can see the plug there. We run it through the window of the extension cord, and the fan blows straight onto our heads from up there, and they're perfect. And it's actually quite comfortable to sleep in, nice and cozy. And so far we've had a few nights of pretty heavy rain, and it's been perfect, hasn't leaked at all. Not going to say the same for Zane's swag, because that is another matter. He's had a few problems. Most of them due to the fact that he's setting up the swag on that stretcher, and the stretcher bends the swag down like that, and water pools at the bottom of it, and it starts to get a little bit wet. I think if you set it up on the ground, it'd probably be a whole lot better, but he's stubborn and he wants to do it on the bed, so that's him, let him do it. But if it looks like rain in the afternoon, we've just been packing this to one side, and Zane sets up his swag underneath the awning here anyway, and it's been fine. Also, you will notice I have got some straps down here already rigged up. I've got pegs down there, so there it is there. When I set the awning up, I've been pegging that down there, A, to let the rain run down the middle on slope, and B, just in case a bit of wind comes along, it can't lift up and fold over the top of the car like the first one did and ruin the awning. But pretty much that's us set up. When we pack up, obviously everything's a lot neater, and it's all stacked in boxes, and everything's stacked in there a little bit more orderly, but it all fits in there pretty easily. And the bulky items like the chairs just go into the dinghy. Zane's bike goes into the dinghy. All of this pretty much fits in, and his swag rolls up and goes in on top of the boxes, and easy fits in with plenty of space. I've chosen not to overload the dinghy as much as possible, because I really didn't want to have too much weight on it. And I've also, every time I've reversed the dinghy in, I've only been reversing it in sort of not even to the hubs there, so the hubs are staying out of the water, so I'm not going to have any wheel bearing problems. I know salt water doesn't sit well with wheel bearings. They're supposed to seal, they really do, so I'm keeping them out of the water, just so we've had clean runs. So far I haven't done a bearing. We've done nearly 5,000 k's and the trailer's been faultless. Yeah, I'm just going to keep them out of the water as much as possible. If I don't have to put them in the water, I'm not going to bother, because then that's just going to probably save me the heartache of having bearing problems later on. I have installed a wheel and a stub axle on the front anyway, so there's a hub with bearings, everything ready to go. So if I do blow a bearing, I've got one there on a hub on the stub axle there ready to go, so it's just a case of switching it over. So it's easy to do anyway, but simple thing. It's only a tinny, it's only 12 foot, it's pretty light. I can just lift it the rest of the way, so if I can keep the bearings out of the water, then that is what I'm going to do, because it just makes life a whole lot easier. Save me having to change the bearing on the side of the road. So far I've been checking them every so often, every time we stop, and they haven't really got hot. They get a little bit warm, you can expect that, but they haven't got hot at all. And I put brand new tyres on before we left as well, so I knew I wouldn't have any problems with tyres. Same with the car, we put brand new tyres on before we left, because we didn't want to have any issues with the tyres as well. And yeah, fine. So another thing we mounted, which was also another nightmare I went through, I bought a standard King's awning the run-of-the-mill King's awnings that you see everywhere. It was like $70. Mounted it, welded up special brackets, had it all on there, went to set it up on the driveway, and within 5 minutes of setting it up, the wind grabbed it, folded it up over the top of the car, and basically broke the awning like straight away. End of that. So I went back to King's. Actually, they did it as a warranty claim for me, which was very nice of them, because it was kind of my fault for not pegging it down in the wind, but they took a benefit of the doubt. And then I had a bit of a look around at this extra. This one is a little bit is their next model up. It's a lot stronger made. It's got definitely got much stronger struts on there. And this one I had to make some custom made brackets up there, which I had to cut the old ones off and bolt these ones on. I don't know how much of that you're going to see on here, but I managed to bolt this one on, and this one's been really good. It's a bit low at the moment because it's set. I've tied it down with like that, so the rain's running off it because it's been absolutely tipping down. And also the car is sitting down probably 4 inches lower than this concrete pad at the moment where we're parked, so it is a little bit low and I'm cracking my head on it. But in general, if the car's flat and ground, I just make it underneath there without hitting my head. This awning has been awesome. It's really cool. Really quick to set up, really quick to set back down again. We can just fold it in, roll it up, less than 2 minutes, it's gone. Which is probably one of the other issues we've been having. All these chairs go inside the boat. It's pretty easy. But one of the other problems, which is something I hadn't really anticipated, well, I kind of knew it was going to be an issue, but is to do anything on my own is literally impossible because the wife's sleeping upstairs in the tent, the shade's here, the food's here, everything's here. So for me to nick off down the boat ramp early in the morning, launch the boat, is basically an impossibility. There's been a few spots like Shark Bay where we could actually moor the boat up on the beach and leave it there, and then I could just get up in the morning and leave everything set up and go walk down to the boat, and then I could go down and go for a fish early. Here we're in Kununurra at the moment. I don't know if you'll be able to see it from this distance, but the boat's actually moored up down there in the lagoon down the bottom, so that's been handy as well. But yeah, to go anywhere, basically it's been a bit awkward, so I haven't really done as much fishing as I would have liked, because by the time I wake everyone up, everyone has 4-course meals for breakfast, we fold everything up, pack everything in the back of the car. It's too late. I've missed the tide, missed the sunrise, or it's just too hard. And then the other downside is a couple of the spots we wanted to fish, like Port Smith and a few other spots, for me to park the car and go fishing, basically leaving my wife sitting in a mosquito infested swamp while we went fishing, which wasn't very kind to her either. So it's been a bit of a balancing act to get any fishing done, really. It's not 100% a fishing trip anyway, it's been more of a sightseeing trip if anything. But I was going to run through a few of the issues we've had. Issue number one, let me talk about this. We kind of knew we were missing the peak season as we came travelling, but just as luck would have it, we copped a 2-week heat wave as we were coming through the Pilbara. So Caravan, how hot was Caravan? 46 and 48 degrees. We stayed at Port Sampson.
That was probably about 40 average all night.
Yeah, Port Sampson averaged around 40 degrees, and that was through the night, and it was stinking hot. Zane's sleeping in his swag down here. We're sleeping in a rooftop tent. We have got fans, rechargeable fans, which would last a couple of hours before they ran out. We've since bought extension cords, so we can run an extension cord up into the top. So if we're in a caravan park, we can just plug in and run the extension cords up into the top and one end of Zane's thing there, so we can run the fans all night long to try to keep us cool. That was kind of just a misfortune, to be honest. We got caught in a heat wave, and it was just, yeah, it was just an uncomfortable couple of nights in Port Sampson where it was stinking hot. But that being said, it rains too, didn't it? Like, it was stinking hot, and then it was humid because it rained. So we went out, like I said, it was 46 degrees on our way out to Tom Price. we got to Tom Price and sat down, and we were absolutely steaming. And then at night it tipped down with rain and a nice cool breeze kicked up, and Tom Price was actually really pleasant. We had 2 really nice nights in Tom Price where it was pleasant and cool because it rained. The rain has been another one of the issues that we've been having. Again, we knew we were towards the end of the wet season, but not quite out of it yet. Unseasonably, the wet season's gone a bit longer than normal, so we caught the tail end of a cyclone as we were coming up through where we come on Pardue. So we went to Pardue. I was really looking forward to Pardue. They've got a creek that opens out into a beautiful estuary, really good fishing. As we got there, we copped the tail end of a cyclone. They copped 600 mils. The day before we got there, they copped 600 mils in one day. The road was barely open. Got through to Pardue, but the road to the creek where you launch the boat and go fishing was closed, so we couldn't fish Pardue. Moved up to the next spot, Port Smith. Port Smith looked absolutely amazing, but once more, I'll roll a bit of footage over the top. As we were driving into Port Smith, the road was probably 2 foot deep in water in some spots. I almost turned around. I didn't want to go in there because I wasn't sure what we were dealing with. We got in there, and then that night it rained and it rained and it rained, and the next day we decided to get out of there because we knew there was a cyclone hovering off the coast, and if we had stayed there, I reckon we would have got stuck in there for another 3 or 4 days because the rain just never stopped and the road got wetter and wetter and wetter. So then we moved to Broome. The day that the cyclone came through. Yeah. Luckily the cyclone came through north of Broome, which was pretty good for us. We actually decided we were going to stay in a chalet for a few days because of this cyclone coming through, so we booked a chalet for 5 days in Cable Beach.
Seashells.
Yeah, Seashells in Cable Beach, so we could hide while the cyclone came through. Turned out the cyclone was a bit of a non-event in Broome. We did get hit with some major king tides, probably the biggest tides. In fact, it was the biggest tide they've had in 100 years in Broome. Massive tides swept up, so it made the fishing really tricky in Broome. We did take the dinghy out one day, and literally shat ourselves because the tide was just running so fast. Those massive big yellow ship moorings were getting dragged underwater and stuff from the tide. I dared not anchor in the dinghy. Basically I just wanted to get out of there. The tide was running so fast, and the tinny was running pretty ordinary, so we just got out of there. But we did have a few good sessions off the beach. It wasn't too bad. And then we took a flight out to the horizontal falls. I don't even know how to explain the horizontal falls. Just one of those childhood dreams of mine. I've always been brought up in the 80s watching Malcolm Douglas videos. Childhood dream of mine to go and see the horizontal falls. Got out there, absolutely incredible. It was spectacular. I didn't film any of it with the GoPro. I was in the moment. I was just enjoying the time with my family, enjoying the experience, and just didn't even film, to be honest. I've got a few clips on my phone, and Zane's got a few clips which I'll run over the top of all of this. But the horizontal falls and then the flight out over the Buccaneer Archipelago, absolutely gobsmacking. Yeah, I don't know, words can't even do it justice. It was just absolutely incredible. If you get a chance, go there. Go there soon, because word is the local traditional owners up there are closing down all the tourism operators, and they're going to take control of all tourism in the future. So I don't know what's going to happen. It's probably going to be up in the air. It might be like Ayers Rock now, where you can't really get close enough to it to walk on it or see it, or yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a balance, to be fair. Driving up and down there in a boat, while it was awesome to see, driving up and down there in the boat, and it got to the point where it was kind of like doing donuts in a church, is the way I likened it to, which was kind of, I can understand why they would see it as being disrespectful. It was amazing to see, and I feel like there's probably a way that we could work together with the traditional owners and probably get tourists in there in a little bit more respectful way than lairising up and down there in a mega horsepower boat the way we did it. But yeah, unbelievable. Horizontal waterfalls, if you get a chance to see it, go and see it. The Kimberley itself, I'll just wait for this aeroplane to go over. Oh yeah, that's another thing. We're actually in Kununurra now, and I wanted to put the drone up because this place looks amazing, but it turns out we're parked right on top of an airport. I wanted some drone footage in Broome. Again, once more, right on top of an airport. horizontal waterfalls, planes, helicopters coming and going. No drone action there either, so there's not going to be very much drone footage. But yeah, horizontal waterfalls, absolutely a banger. I would recommend 100%. So, oh yeah, Zane's giving himself a spray with that regard. Another downside of our trip here is, yeah, being the end of the wet season, it is wet and the mosquitoes are absolutely rampant. Literally, where were we? Pardue? At Pardue, yeah. Pardue, I've never seen the mosquitoes so bad. They would have lifted you off your feet and carried you away. We went to bed at 6:30, like tucked ourselves up inside the rooftop, and Zane was in the swag by 6:30 because they were just so bad. We just had to get away from them. Yeah, Carragini National Park. I'll put a video out about Carragini, but yeah, the flies and the mosquitoes at Carragini were pretty hardcore as well. As you can see, we've got 2 cans of shoe and Aerogard right here on the table because we've been giving them a fair old thrashing. So from Broome we drove out to, where did we go?
Mary's Pool.
Mary's Pool. So we drove through Fitzroy Crossing. That was an experience all on its own for reasons which I'm not even going to go on to, but if you've ever been to Fitzroy Crossing, you probably know what I'm talking about. We stayed the night at Mary's Pool, which was a really nice place. Again, I didn't do any footage out there, but it was just a really nice place to camp on the side of a river there. Nice and quiet. We got up early the next morning and bailed through Halls Creek. Once more, another place that is remarkable in its unremarkableness, and if you've ever been there you'll know what I'm talking about. A kind of place where you want to get in, fill up, keep your keys in your hand, lock your car, put your petrol in the car and then get the hell out of there. So we left out of there and then headed straight out here to Kununurra, and Kununurra has been amazing. It's really beautiful here, but I'll run a few more videos on this a bit later on. Apart from that, can you think of anything else remarkable that's happened? I mean, there's been so much going on. I haven't filmed a lot of it because it's a family holiday and I've just been soaking it in more than anything rather than filming stuff. I've been taking photos on my phone, but I really haven't been putting much effort into filming because, I don't know, we're just chilling, aren't we? We spend a lot of time sitting here under the shade reading a book. I think I've knocked out 3 books. Just been sitting down, relaxing and taking it all in.
Sunsets have been
sunsets have been amazing, yeah. And Zane and I have had a couple of nice afternoons in the boat out here in the lagoon and out onto Lake Kununurra, which is absolutely spectacular. The dinghy's been a bit of a problem. I'm not going to walk down there now and show you, but suffice to say, the road, we took a gravel road. It was a railway road from Tom Price through to Karratha and Dampier, and yeah, the corrugations and the vibrations cracked a couple of welds in the tinny, so one of the ribs in the dinghy's broken. The outboard got a mouthful of red dust in it somehow, so got to Port Sampson, went to launch the dinghy and it was running like an absolute piece of shit. Wasn't very confident in it at all, so we didn't really use it in Port Sampson. We did do a bit of fishing in Port Sampson off the rocks and had a bit of fun there on some queenies and stuff. I did a bit of a rough caravan park carby clean out and pulled the carby, stripped it down, cleaned it out, put it back together, got it running. It was running, but running average. We took it out in Broome, again, didn't really instill confidence, and in the tides that were roaring through there, I kind of thought better of it and just parked it up for the day. Once we got here and I had a nice clean lagoon and some nice calm water to deal with, we took it out and I gave it a bit of a tune with a screwdriver and got it running semi-well. It's still not 100%, it's probably running 95, 90%.
It was running a bit rich.
It was running rich, and I've tuned it back down again now. She's running a bit leaner, but she's probably 95%. It could be better. I'm going to knock that down to 85%. It's probably running at 85%. It'll idle for a little while, then it stalls. It'll run flat out for a little while, and then it starts to choke. It's running. It hasn't conked out and left us in the lurch yet, which is a win, but it's not running as good as it could be. We'll get there. We'll give it another bit of a tickle. We're off in a couple of days up to Lake Argyle, and we'll be taking it out up there as well. So we'll give it another tickle with a screwdriver when we get a chance.
The actual tin boat itself is worse than the...
Yeah, the boat is in a bit of a bad state, but we'll sort that out.
Especially
anyway,
for the crocs.
Yeah, in croc infested waters up here. Luckily Lake Argyle is not renowned. It's got freshwater crocs, but not salty, so we're okay. Anyway, for now I'm going to leave it at that, and I'll end this video here, and we'll take it on a bit further on. Like I said, we got another day here in Kununurra, and then we're moving up to Lake Argyle, so, and then to Darwin and further up Kakadu. So I'll leave this video here. If you like our stuff, stay tuned, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Yoop.